So this is a video about tips and tricks with proof of weak hands in case it was something you were thinking about getting into. But first, I do want to give a big, heavy disclaimer. I'm not a financial advisor, and I don't even consider this an investment. I consider it gambling. And so I'm really remiss, I'm really, conflicted about ever talking about this or promoting this, but I have to be honest, while we're going through this big dip in the crypto market right now, proof of weak hands is my best performing asset. So I was really struggling with the question of, do I talk about this even though it's super sketchy? Because I don't want to spoil my name or reputation. But at the same time, this is making me the most money in crypto right now. So do I not talk about it? And I decided, you know what, let's talk about it, but let's just be super open and honest about it, and let's talk about the risk, and people will have to make a decision for themselves. So this is set up like a Ponzi scheme or a pyramid scheme, but the idea is that it's open source, so everybody can look at the smart contract, and that everyone who buys tokens benefits. And supposedly, again, this is the big caveat, supposedly there's no backdoor for the owner or the creator or the admin to take out the funds and run away or shut it down. So it's decentralized. They put it out there on the Ethereum network as a dApp or smart contract, and now theoretically no one can steal the funds and take it away and shut it down, etc., etc., etc. Please be careful. Even if they think it can't be done, maybe someday somebody finds a way for it to be done, and then you lose everything. So let's talk about the tips, the tricks, and the strategies. So if you come over here to the exchange, is where you can buy your tokens. This is showing my holdings, how many tokens I have, how much those tokens are worth in Ethereum right now, because the Ethereum price goes up. So let's first talk about proof of weak hands. I should have done that. Proof of weak hands is a very simple concept, but with very interesting ramifications. You trade Ethereum for proof of weak hands tokens, or P3D tokens. When you do that, 10% of your Ethereum gets distributed to everybody who's already holding tokens. And the same thing occurs when you sell. When you sell, 10% of that is put into Ethereum or traded into Ethereum, and that is distributed to everyone holding proof of weak hands tokens. And you can withdraw those tokens. The other thing is that every time a proof of weak, a P3D token is bought with Ethereum, the price of the token goes up by 1 GUI. A GUI is the smallest amount of Ethereum. Every time a token is sold, the amount goes down, or the exchange rate goes down by 1 GUI. So it's not a normal marketplace with an exchange, it's over-the-counter exchange. And the price goes up or down. So I bought 6,000 tokens for 25 Ethereum. It's now worth 57 Ethereum. And over here on the right, it shows your earnings. And I cash out basically every day. I've already cashed out once this morning. And within probably about 4 or 5 hours, it's generated me another $40 worth of Ethereum, 0.1014 Ethereum. And that's because people are buying and selling P3D tokens, and you get a percentage of the fees from that based on how many tokens you have. So we're finally getting to it, the tips and tricks. Obviously, with any Ponzi scheme, the earliest you get in, the better, especially in this situation where the token price was a lot lower. When I bought in, it was basically 0.003. So it is quadrupled in token price since I bought. So I got a lot more tokens for my Ethereum, but it's kind of weird because Ethereum has gone down in value 50%. You could probably still get a lot in terms of US dollars. You could probably get close to what I'm getting in tokens. So there's the thing you have to consider. What is the price of Ethereum going to be in the future? What is the price of P3D tokens going to be? And when is the optimal time to cash out? Now, I'll tell you, the reason I got in and the reason I decided to do this is I figured I could afford to gamble, and I do consider it gambling, a certain amount of money. I bought one day, I played with it, looked at the dividends, made sure I could withdraw tokens, sell tokens, buy tokens, make sure I understood how the website worked. Then I went all in at once. Because there's no benefit to buying day 1, day 3, day 5, day 7, right? The P3D tokens are not going to go down in value when it's in early on. And I still think we're kind of early on. But it's hard to tell, right? It's purely a social mechanical game. If everybody starts selling then the token price goes down. If everyone is buying, the token price goes up. You kind of have to gauge and come up with your decision or what the odds are you think that people are still buying in. I wasn't seeing a lot of attention on this. I wasn't seeing a lot of YouTube videos on this. That's kind of an indicator to me that it's still early on, so I went ahead and bought, but I bought all at once. Basically the third day that 3 days after I bought my initial tokens. I didn't string buy. I didn't buy, you know, one ETH one day, another ETH another day, another ETH another day, etc., etc., etc. The next question that you have to answer, or the tip or trick that you have to deal with, is do you reinvest? So over here it says, if you reinvest, you can get 8.5 more P3D tokens. Now, if you were super, super early, I think that is kind of a smart way to go, but you kind of have to figure out a couple of things. You have to decide a couple of things. Are you still early enough that it's worthwhile to do so? Because you want the volume and the price to go up, so you want to make sure you're buying cheaper. And second of all, what do you think the odds are that it will get hacked or shut down or backdoored by an admin or a creator in some way in the near future? And I decided I wasn't going to play that game. I was not going to reinvest anything. I was just going to withdraw every single day. Now, you could split this up. I have a friend, and he's doing the exact opposite. He went in with a lot less, but he's reinvesting every single day. And I said, you know, you don't have to go all in one way or the other. You could mix it up a bit. You could withdraw one day, reinvest the next day, or reinvest 10 days, withdraw 10 days. You could do it like that. And so what are the benefits or the pros and cons of doing that? The more you reinvest early on, the more tokens you'll make as long as this continues for a long time. But if you think about this from a gambler stance or investor stance, you want to know, when are you going to take back your principal? When are you going to take profits, and when are you going to take principal are two of the most important questions you can ask yourself with any gambling or any investment. So for me, I'll tell you my markers. I decided that if the Ethereum value or token value ever is 10x higher than what I put in, so if this becomes 250 Ethereum worth, I would sell 1/3 of my tokens, thereby tripling my value that I got out of it, and I'm getting back my principal. But I decided that with my dividends, I would take the dividends every single day, and I wouldn't reinvest any. Because if I wanted to reinvest, I would just scrounge up cash, sell some of my other assets, and buy it all on day one. I don't see a ton of value for reinvesting every single day. Okay, that's the decision that I made. Now, what did I want to talk about? Oh, if you're on the site and you kind of move around and you come back and click holdings and you see that it's a low amount or the same amount as before, don't panic. Click the refresh button. I know this is silly. Click the refresh button, because that's the only way that this thing seems to fully reload and show you your new balance. So if you panic or you don't think something went through, or you don't think you're getting earnings, make sure you come here and actually refresh here and not just click on the holdings button here. You do have to have MetaMask. To get MetaMask, you go to myetherwallet.com. I'll show you that real quick. myetherwallet.com. Boom. If you don't have, yes, disclaimer, disclaimer. If you don't have a wallet, you type in a password here to create a new wallet, and then later on, you set up the MetaMask. Okay. So you get your MyEther wallet here at myetherwallet.com, and then you install the MetaMask, and this application requires that you use MetaMask to work with it. Other tips and tricks. If you sell tokens, I'll click on that here. You can type in how many tokens you decide to sell. That's your P3D tokens. So for example, if I were to sell all 6,000, it's updating, I would get 57.5 ETH. Don't panic. That's not going to go to your MetaMask account like I thought it would the first time I tried it. It goes to your holding account, which is over here. It's separate. So in order to get it to your MetaMask account, you have to sell it here, then go to holdings and click withdraw. Very important that you understand that. Because if you sell all your tokens and then you freak out because you don't have any Ethereum in your wallet, it's because you still have to withdraw it. Same thing. So I'm going to walk you through this here a bit. I'm going to go ahead and withdraw now. If you withdraw tokens, you click the withdraw button. It used to pop up left over here on the left, the transaction window, but I think MetaMask changed it, so now you have to click on the MetaMask. It shows a notification here, and it shows you confirm transaction. Your account, how much Ethereum is in your MetaMask account, being sent to the smart contract. And this freaks a lot of people out because they think that they're sending their account balance basically to the smart contract. But if you look down here, the amount is 0 ETH 0 USD, so that's what you're sending. And you can change the gas limit here. This is basically showing what you're paying out of to send this message to the smart contract, and then the smart contract, and it doesn't show it here, but the smart contract will send you your withholdings, so this 0.12 ETH. So if you've never done that before, it's going to freak you out. You're going to be worried, but that is how the system works. And if you're worried about it, simply create another Ethereum wallet or an Exodus wallet and send your Ethereum, basically empty it except for enough to do the transaction. Then do the transaction and make sure your withholdings goes to your MetaMask account. Now you notice it doesn't happen instantly, and that's because it's on the Ethereum blockchain, and so this has to confirm enough times before the smart contract activates. Then the smart contract sends it to you. So both of those transactions need to activate. So in other words, you do this, you walk away for 5 minutes, and then you come back and it should be in your account. So this 0.12 should be added. Oh, that happened pretty quick. Did you see that? It went from 0.15 to 0.27. Now if I go to the website, let's see if it happens. I click that. It looks like it's still in there, right? Just like I told you before, you have to click that refresh button on your browser. Then it's going to fully load and show you the correct balance. So now we have 0 earnings. Last trick and tip that I can think of for today is share your masternode, right? Then you get these types of payments, you get these types of profit. It's actually very small because you're only getting 30% of the 10% of the fees that they collect. You're not getting 3/10. You're not getting 30% of what they bought or 30% of the 10%. Yeah, you're only getting 30% of the 10%. You're not getting like 3/10 of the 10%. So the profits are small, but if you do want to keep this going, you want to be open and honest, share your masternode, but please don't be scummy about it. Don't ruin your reputation for a Ponzi scheme. You know, I'm telling you straight up, this is gambling. This is not investing. This is not. There's no company behind this. There's no commodity behind this. There's no underlying value. It's really just a game that we're all gambling and playing that is based on how long do we think other people will keep joining, gambling, and playing. Because the only way we make dividends is when people sell and when people die. Now, I think there's going to be an inflection point. I think at some point there's going to be so many tokens in existence, and the price for the tokens is going to be so high that it's not worth holding tokens anymore. And so then people are going to sell. And so if you're still holding tokens while people are selling, then finally you'll start to make some dividends again, and it'll go up again, and then it'll go down again, and it'll go up again. But I think there's going to be a point where it gets so high, there's so many tokens in existence, and the price per token is so expensive that your dividends are going to shrink to almost nil, and you should just sell out and go invest someplace else where the money is going to work harder and faster. But I'll tell you right now, with 6,000 tokens, I am still generating what is the US equivalent of $100 per day in Ethereum. And Ethereum has been going down in value, so that's pretty good. I don't know if that's the case if you buy tokens today. Let's see, if you're about to spend 1 Ethereum, you would get 84 tokens. So you would have to spend maybe 80-ish. That doesn't seem right. Excuse me. Yeah, so to get the same amount of tokens as me today, you would have to spend in the mid-70 amount of Ethereum. But Ethereum is half as expensive as when I bought in or when I was buying. So interestingly enough, that kind of works out. That's still not a bad price, in my opinion. If you were trying to get the earnings that I was trying to get, in terms of US dollars, you would still be at a good time to buy. Anyway, it's not a recommendation. I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice because I don't even consider this as an investment. I do enjoy gambling on UFC fights. I like stuff and this type of stuff. I don't like gambling on roulette and craps and those types of things where the house advantage is stacked against you. I think you can find good gambling opportunities out there, especially like UFC fights, boxing fights, if you really do your research and really know what you're doing. But at the end of the day, it's still gambling. Anything can happen. Somebody could hack this account, or somebody could hack the smart contract or do a backdoor and take everything. So you want to think about, how are you going to get your principal back? Are you going to get it by taking out your earnings? Are you going to get it by selling your tokens? Are you going to do both? At what value will you sell your tokens? Just decide early on what you're going to do. But if you're going to do P3D, once you make that decision to get into P3D, my suggestion right now, my tip and strategy, is that I went all in one day. Don't string by. But anyways, I hope this video helps some people. Be smart. Be careful. Good luck.